Hi folks, HR Funk here with my first video of 2023. And before I get into the video, let me say I hope you all had a great holiday season and a happy and safe new year. When I was considering topics for today's video, I was trying to think of something that might be good to kick off the new year, and I came up with the idea of producing a list of things I would like to see in the firearms world coming up in 2023. And ultimately, I ended up with a list of 12 items. And I'm going to go through the list in no particular order. And again, these are things that I would really like to see from firearms and gear manufacturers coming in the new year. And you never know just who might be watching these videos, and maybe someone in the right company will see some of the things that I'm talking about here. And who knows, maybe by the end of the year, we'll actually see some of these items that I'm going to be discussing. And what I would really like is at the end of the video for all of you, if you have things you would like to see in 2023, be sure to annotate that in the comments section. And again, who knows who might see that. So here is my list of the 12 things I would like to see in 2023. Now, I did try to be reasonable with the things that I put on my list, and the very first item is something that I don't think could be completed in just one year, but it would be nice if it started in this year and ultimately ended up being completed at some point in the future. And that is, I would like to see some standardization on the part of handgun manufacturers and optics manufacturers, specifically those who manufacture red dot optics for handguns. Currently, we have a variety of different optic footprints that are used for different types of red dot optics, and the handgun manufacturers have to have a variety of different mounting plates or brackets or what have you to be able to mount a particular red dot optic to their handgun. And for those folks who are custom machinists who mill handgun slides to be able to accept different types of red dot optics, they have to be cognizant of what type of an optic it is and what type of a footprint that it has and everything else. And it makes it all very confusing. It results in a situation like we have currently where some manufacturers include mounting plates, some manufacturers you have to contact to get mounting plates, and it's just sort of a headache. We've seen some standardization on the long gun side with the 1913 rail that most optics manufacturers have optics that will accommodate or will mount to that rail. It would be nice to see some sort of similar standardization on the handgun side. So if we could see that begin in 2023, I would be very happy to see that, and I don't think I'm the only one. Next up on my list is something that I think would be relatively simple for this particular company to do, and that is I would like to see Marlin, now being manufactured by Ruger, reproduce their 444 Outfitter carbine. That's something that was produced years ago by the original Marlin company. It wasn't produced for very long, and the standard 444 rifle version of that particular firearm was around a lot longer. But I just was looking at the Marlin/Ruger website recently, and I saw that they've reintroduced the 1895 guide gun. So all that would really be necessary would be to change the chambering and the rifling of that particular rifle to accommodate the 444 Marlin cartridge, and that would be back once again with us. That is a particular carbine that I've been interested in for a long time. I have the rifle version. I would like to have the carbine version. I think it would be a very good hunting rifle for those of us restricted to straight wall cartridges, as we are here in Ohio. And I would just very much once again like to see that 444 Marlin Outfitter produced. So if anyone from Ruger or Marlin is watching this, that's one I'd like to see. Number 3 on the list is something I would like to see reproduced because it goes along with something else that I would like to use it along with. For several years now, I've been considering the idea of contacting a custom rifle builder and having them build me a reproduction of a Marine Corps M40A1 rifle. And one of the things that's caused me to hesitate a little bit is I can't get the proper optic to go along with that rifle. For those of you who already know, the optic used with the M40A1 was the Unertl 10 power sniper scope. And for a very short period of time, US Optics produced that scope rather, and they actually produced the original Unertl design. And of course it was very expensive. There weren't very many of them manufactured, and so consequently there aren't many out there to choose from. I would really like to see someone like, oh, say Hilux Optics come out with a reproduction, especially if they could build a decent quality reproduction for a lower cost, I would be very interested in that optic. And once again, I don't think I'm the only one, because I think there are probably a lot of us that would like to have that sort of a scope. And once in a great while, when the originals come up, usually on an auction site, they go for very high dollars. So something that was a little bit more accessible to those of us who would like to have one and like to rebuild that type of a rifle would be something that would be very, very nice, and that's something I'd like to see in 2023. Number 4 is something that I think could be accomplished tomorrow if this particular manufacturer was inclined to do so. One of the handguns that I've come to really like over the last several years that I've owned it is my IWI Masada. Now, a lot of you know that that is a modular design where the internal chassis is the actual firearm and the frame is a separate part. A year or so ago, IWI started to offer the Masada with different colored frames, and I would like to be able to purchase a different color frame as a component part and have it shipped to my house so I could switch the chassis from one frame to the other. And so far, IWI has not done that. In fact, I just checked their website a little while ago to make sure they hadn't started doing it before I made this video. And so far, the frames are not available as an extra accessory. And that's something I would very much like to see IWI do coming in 2023. It's something I would purchase about as soon as I saw it. So hopefully somebody from that company might see this video and decide to go ahead and take that step. I think number 5 is the only high-tech item on my list. And currently, I think this is something that would probably be not all that difficult for someone with the right technical knowledge to be able to devise. Particularly since a lot of us have large screen TVs nowadays. Mine has something like a 60-inch screen diagonal or something ridiculous like that. And what I would like to see is someone build a home firearm simulator training system that would interface with our TV, and we could use that particularly during the winter months like we're in right now to be able to keep our firearm skills honed. I think that would be something very good for armed citizens to be able to use in their home, but it has to be done very well. I've mentioned in the past, I've used a lot of firearms training simulators over the years, and some of them are very, very good. Some of them are not so good. And for something to be good, it has to be something with different branches on the various simulations that you see on the screen. It can't be the same thing over and over and over, so it becomes a video game where the person who is quote-unquote undergoing training just sits there and waits for the bad guy to do whatever the bad guy is going to do, and then it becomes a game to see how quickly you can shoot. But it needs to be something that causes a lot of thought. It needs to be something that's done with the proper legal mindset as approaching to the different simulated situations that you see on screen. And it has to have the right gear to go along with it that's going to be able to, in the case of a simulated handgun, look at the screen and be able to determine where the shots hit and how effective they would be, and the on-screen image has to react to that. Now, we see a lot of this type of technology in video games already. I don't think it would be much of a stretch to bring this into an actual training realm. So this is something I think if we would see this in 2023 in a well thought out, affordable format, and something that would interface with our TVs, or at very least our computer screens, which I don't think would be quite as good, but would be better than nothing, would give us a very good home training system to be able to use. The next item on the list is going to harken back to some complaints you've heard me make over the past year and really over the past several years. And that is, I would like to see Google and YouTube and the other social media outlets back off of the restrictions on firearms related content. It has become so frustrating dealing with these various different types of outlets, and it almost seems like since Twitter has gone through its transition here recently, that particularly in my case, Google/YouTube has doubled down on their restrictions to make it even that much more difficult to get firearms content monetized and to get it put out where people can actually see it. And that's something I would really like to see swing back the other way. I don't know if it's possible, but it's something I'd like to see in 2023. Next is something that I produced 2 complete videos on during 2022, and they were fairly lengthy videos, and I was hoping maybe this idea would pick up some momentum with those videos, and they were largely ignored. So I can still hope for it. I would like to see a target manufacturer out there somewhere produce a series of targets showing realistic images of bad guys on the targets in different postures and different poses with anatomical drawings showing where the various internal organs are when someone is turned in that posture or standing in that position. And I would like to see some input from the medical community to give an idea of when bullets strike these various internal organs, how effective the wound might be created by that shot. So I don't know if this will ever come to pass. It's something I would really like to see. I think there would be a market for it if the right target manufacturer is out there, but it is something I'd like to see in the coming new year. And we're up to number 8. And this is something that I've been waiting for the time to come for this to pick up speed, and it hasn't really happened yet. And that is, I would like to see what is now the Remington Firearms Company start to expand their product line a little bit. So far, the only thing that I've seen out there are some 870 shotguns, and there's been very little marketing that I'm aware of or anything else to help promote those new firearms. I would like to see some of the other historic Remington firearms brought back, like the Model 700, like maybe the 1100 shotgun and some of the others. And I don't know if we're going to see that or not. I don't know what the current status of that company is or how likely it is we're going to see some of those. But I would really like to see that old historic brand work its way back and see a few more of those products we used to see back on the market again. Number 9 is something I'll freely admit might be wishful thinking. But after the pistol we saw FN bring out in 2022, I think their application of the moniker high power to that pistol blasphemes that historic name. In 2023, I would really like to see Browning reintroduce a classic P35 pistol that follows the traditional lines of the Browning high power. And if they wanted to update it a little bit with newer sights or maybe a 15-shot magazine and call it a Mark IV, I wouldn't complain really, but I would like to see a traditional Browning high power pistol back on the shelves again. So in 2023, even if it's wishful thinking, that's something I'd like to see. Next is, I believe, the only legislative item I have on my list, and that is, in 2023, I would like to see an end to this pistol brace nonsense. We have now had, I think, twice that we were supposed to get the final version of this thing coming out from ATF. We haven't heard anything about it yet, and I'm hoping maybe that's a sign that some people are having some second thoughts about it and maybe reconsidering the whole idea of basically transferring a entire class of firearms owners in America from legal gun owners to non-legal gun owners with the stroke of a pen. I think this is silly. I don't know that those things are being used willy-nilly in crimes out there, and that's something I would just like to see brought to an end in 2023. Number 11 is something else that I'll freely admit might be a pipe dream, but it's something that firearms owners and purchasers have been asking for years, and that is, I'd like to see Smith & Wesson reintroduce a classic line of some of their traditional auto-loading pistols. Some of the designs that harken back to the Model 39, the Model 59, some of those throughout the 1990s that a lot of us carried as duty handguns. I would like to see some version of those reintroduced. Once again, they could be updated a little if that was really necessary, but I think there's a market for that out there. I think that's proven by the success of handguns like the CZ75, like the Beretta pistols, and I think Smith & Wesson could reintroduce some of their classic handguns and they would sell very well. And last but not least, in 2023, I would like to see finally our ammunition and reloading components return to pre-COVID levels in terms of supply and also price. We're still seeing a lot of spotty availability of different types of ammunition. A lot of very common ammunition like range grade 9mm ammunition is still priced a lot higher than it was just a few years ago. And I am getting very, very weary of all that. It seems like we've come far enough into the future that we should be seeing an end to some of the things that we saw starting back around 2020. And particularly with hand loading components, not only are they not there, but if you do happen across them, some of the things like primers are just priced at ridiculous levels. And in 2023, I would like to see that ratchet back down to where we're closer at least to where we were back in 2019 or so. So there you go, folks. That's my list of 12 things that I would like to see in the coming new year of 2023. Be sure to stop by the comments section and let me know anything you would like to see in the new year. And that's going to do it for this video. As always, if you have any questions or comments, be sure to forward those to me. Remember, if you purchase anything from Optics Planet, be sure to use my discount code, which is... And if you use that discount code, it'll save you 5% off your purchase from Optics Planet. Also remember the new discount code from Hot Munitions. If you go to Hot Munitions, you can use my discount code there, which is HRFUNK10, and that'll save you 10% off your purchase from Hot Munitions. See you next time, folks. Until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.